Welcome back. This is Sporty Monday right here on Citizen TV, and of course we are glad you are still there. And now we are crossing gears a little bit, and we're going to talk matters basketball and the Basketball Africa League, to be precise. Season 2025 is just about to go down, and Danny together with Ziti are on the scoreboard just to break it down for us. Ziti?
Thank you so much, Sila. Dani, karibu sana. Najua wewe mambo ya basketball uko sawa.
Kujaribu.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about, of course, the BAL, that Basketball African League. Of course, City Thunder are the people who are presenting us uko as a Kenyan team. Na wamekuwa wakifanya poa. Qualifiers, actually, they were unbeaten. Baka wakishinda.
Sure.
They were unbeaten. So this is like, as we talk about the BAL, of course, it's a partnership between FIBA and NBA in Africa, and the league it kicks off actually from the group stages in April 5th. And then talk about the BAL features 12 teams. Of course, you'll tell us about of 12 teams, because for the final round, of course, 8 teams are going to be chosen for this. What can you tell us the formation that they'll be taking?
Yeah, so basically the regular season takes in 3 phases. We have the 3 conferences. We have the Sahara, Kalahari, and the Nile. They'll play in 3 phases. We have the phase kicking off next month, and all the last one should be over by May, so that we create time for the playoffs. Yeah. So out of the 12 teams that we have, only 8 will qualify for the playoffs. So in each conference, each team will play the other opponents 2 times. That means a maximum of 6 matches. And after that, they'll take the top seeded 3 teams plus the 2 best losers from each conference. So that means we'll have a total of 8.
Before we talk about other things, tell us what do you think BAL will do to African basketball?
So generally, the NBA has good intentions for Africa. They want to expand the game, to grow the game, and also promote players who are talented. And previously, we've had players like last edition, we had a player joining the Toronto Raptors of the NBA after an excellent campaign. So basically, the objective of BAL is to promote basketball in Africa and also enhance the visibility of the game. They've undertaken many initiatives to ensure that the objective is realized, that maybe having the BAL is one of those initiatives. And also we have the NBA building infrastructure, basketball infrastructure in Africa.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was told in Kenya, of course, when the president was talking here, the BAL president was talking about that what they need is only a land they buy and start building the arenas across the country.
Yeah.
And even in schools.
Yeah.
Okay. Pedro de Luanda, of course, from Angola, the defending champion.
Yeah, they won the last edition last year. And remember, the inaugural edition was held in 2021 after COVID-19, despite the league being started in 2019. And after that, we've had 4 champions. We have Al Ahly, Pedro de Luanda was the last edition. You mentioned something very important about the infrastructure. For the longest time, I remember there was a time Masai Ujiri was here in the building, and they said that the biggest problem facing basketball in Africa is lack of facilities and also lack of support from government. So I feel now the NBA is coming in that capacity to ensure that they provide the avenues for players to express and grow their talent. And at the end of the day, if they'll be able to cross to move across the ocean, why not? Yes. And
let's start with the first pool, of course, the Kalahari. Of course, Kalahari, it's a desert.
Yeah,
Kalahari desert.
Yes,
they put them in different deserts. Kalahari desert. I can see teams are doing very well, of course, here, and then I can see from teams across the country, of course, Morocco, Egypt, Mali, and Nigeria are coming for this. What do you think about this, the first pool? What do you think about the best team among these one? Because I know when you talk about Al Ittihad, of course, they have even a football team, the football team. So what do you think?
Yes, I feel the team that is like to take the group is Al Ittihad, but all other competitors are equally good. So I feel like the fact that they've reached the last 12, so that should give them more belief that they can go on and win the tournament. I remember we've not had someone repeat or win the championship 2 times in a row. So everyone is well poised to challenge.
So this is the first conference league first group playing. Of course, they'll be playing against each other. Everyone will be playing 6 matches. Yeah. Let's talk about the Sahara one. Sahara, that is the Pool B, will be Sahara one. Talk about of course, this is where the reigning champion is. That is Pedro de Luanda, of course, they're from Angola. And talk about the Creole Star being their first time in this league. They're from Cape Verde, being their first time in this league. What do you think about them?
You're surprisingly enough, for this year's edition, we have 6 new teams participating, so 6 debutants. That should give you a taste of what the tournament has been able to achieve so far. This, I believe, is the toughest group because they have US Monastir from Tunisia, they are former champions, and also Pedro de Luanda, the reigning champion. So I think the fans should be in for a very good entertainment.
So you think the former champion and the reigning champion can go. Let's talk about the last group where our own Nairobi City Thunder will be competing among, of course, Nairobi City Thunder is their first time participating in this league. What do you think about this, the third pool?
Yeah, so remember City Thunder achieved something very special last year when they qualified for the BAL. Previously, KPA had attempted, but they failed at the last hurdle, losing the road to BL in the finals. So for the fact that City Thunder are the first Kenyan side to qualify for the main event, I feel now they should be in a very good position to express what they can do. And remember, most of their drafting, most of their signings have been towards helping them have a good campaign at the BL. So I feel now that they are at the stage, is now the right time for them to show us what they're capable of. But I think under their able management, they should be able to have a good run in this tournament. But again, you need to look at the likes of Al Ahly Tripoli, an equally good side. But I'm always rooting for the home side.
Rwanda have been good too. Let's talk about Made by Basketball. Of course, in they're from South Africa, and South Africa, I think that is where the playoff will be played. What do you think about them? Because they're in the same group with us. Wakitolewa manze tutapata mafans kweli.
Yeah, okay, it's fine. We don't care. But our business is just to go there and do our business and come
We are rooting for Nairobi City Thunder
all the time. And again, remember Rwanda, Nigeria, Tunisia, and Morocco are the countries that get automatic spots in the last 12. So by the fact that we're going to play there should give us more experience on now the most elite side in Africa, the kind of practices they have, and also the initiative they take to develop their game.
As the basketball writer and of course a fan, what do you think about the Thunder, the way they are preparing for the BAL starting of course in April?
I'm giving them out of 10, I can give you them 8 in terms of the preparations. But again, going into the league phase now, they should be even more ready, given the fact that most of their signings, most of the operations have been around them having a good run in the BL.
And having the federation again supporting them all in this.
Yeah, sure.
Of course, we'll be rooting for City Thunder as they play the conference, of course, Nile conference from the Pool C. Of course, we'll be here telling you all the details. Of course, Dan will be here giving you all the details on what will be happening. Back to you, Swila.
Thank you, Ziti and Danny there. Of course, Danny eats, drinks, and sleeps football, basketball rather, more so the NBA. And Brenda, you've seen that group and the fixtures. Of course, they've been broken alongside the regions. What do you think are the chances of Nairobi City Thunder?
I'd say tough group, very tough group. But then you hosted them here.
Yeah, sure.
And the boys were really confident. And I hope they're going to deliver. I mean, they have been preparing, they have been afforded the opportunity, they've been afforded the support. So we just hope that they're going to be, they're going to bring the results home. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so the National Basketball Association is upping efforts of identifying and grooming emerging basketball talents through its Basketball Without Borders program. Since inception in 2001, the initiative has benefited hundreds of talented basketball kids, gaining elite instruction and development opportunities to maximize their potential. And as Isaac Swila found out in his recent visit to the United States, the NBA is also rolling out ambitious projects to popularize the sport, not just in America, but Africa at large, where plans are afoot to construct 55 basketball courts.
The Basketball Without Borders has become one of the most popular programs run by the National Basketball Association, benefiting talented and upcoming basketball players from across the globe. The camp, run every year across several countries, provides elite instruction and development opportunities with elite coaches and trainers on parade to polish the skills, but also spot emerging talents with the goal of producing the next NBA stars. One such camp was hosted in San Francisco, USA in the month of February, and which attracted the game's finest emerging talents from across the globe, their age range varying from 14 to 18, the event coinciding with the 2025 NBA All-Star Weekend. At the camps, the players are not just taken through their paces, but rigorous friendly matches are played with precision, the coaches and scouts keen to detail. the best of them earning recognition and perhaps a future with the NBA. One such talent is the 17-year-old Ikenna Alozie, a Nigerian by birth, but who immigrated from Lagos and now based in Phoenix, the state of Arizona.
I came to the U.S. in 2021. I was in Jersey at first, 8th grade. I was just, chilling, trying to understand the whole system of basketball over here. And I started playing as a freshman in practice school, and, it was a little different from the way I played in Nigeria, obviously. But with time, as time passes, I was just, understanding the pace and the way they play out here. And since then, it's been fun.
Ikenna hopes that with the exposure he's getting in America, the up-to-scratch facilities and good coaching, the future has a lot to offer.
I'm definitely excited. I'm amazed, actually. I'm proud of myself, actually, being able to stand out in a situation like this, not just for, the same set of players, but for different continents, being able to stand out and making my country known, understand me? So, yeah.
And for the African players, they have role models, people to look unto who have starred in the game, players like the late Dikembe Mutombo. Through the Basketball Without Borders, the NBA has staged 77 camps in 51 cities across 33 countries and 6 continents that has benefited more than 4,500 talents from 142 different countries.
The BAL, Basketball Africa League, has already started to lift the game everywhere. You got, take Kenya as an example. The pursuit of a BAL slot by the Nairobi City Thunder.
And with the growth of sport in America, where it is raking billions of dollars in revenue, NBA is widening its scope, rolling out ambitious plans such as the Basketball Africa League and also building 55 basketball courts in Africa as a way of growing the sport and keeping alive the legacy of NBA legend Dikembe Mutombo, a Congolese American who starred in the NBA for over 8 seasons before succumbing to brain cancer in 2024 in Atlanta, the state of Georgia, at the age of 58. Isaac Swiller for Sporty Monday. That's Basketball Without Borders down in San Francisco, the state of California. This year you've seen the investments NBA is pumping, not just in America or targeting Africa, but across the world. And beginning this year, the aim is to build 55 basketball courts across Africa. And of course, they're doing this in honor of the legendary Dikembe, who actually wore jersey 55 during his tenure in the NBA. This is somebody who came from Congo, and actually Congo is earmarked to benefit from these facilities. Basically, what do you make of that? NBA argues there's a lot of untapped potential regarding basketball in Africa.
And I thank God for them. The reason is that they have known the people who have starred in the NBA where they came from. At least they are doing what our colonizers have failed to do. Because really, when we are watching
Who are our colonizers?
That's a big name.
But you know, I can be called a racist when I say that, but that's true. That when Kenyans are watching EPL every weekend,
yes,
and they are very happy, one day I think even like the embassy, they should ask the question, why can't we even support, the kind of football we have here? But now going to basketball, you mentioned about Congo, and I remember the words of Vincent Kompany yesterday. I think there is a lot of football mentioned in here, but this is basketball, and he was saying that his heart bleeds for Eastern Congo, what is happening now. The other day he said that he's a Belgian, but from the heart he knows that he's a Congolese, the father and the mother coming from there, the coach, Bayern Munich coach. So really I want to believe that some of these projects that can come and inspire Africa more. It is sweeter and identifying that, knowing that this is business, not just sports. When Nairobi City Thunder, which Danny and Zita have really given us a lot of information about there, came and started showing us how we should run our sport, business-wise, not just focusing on winning a game here and there. We have seen the kind of changes they have brought into the sports. And so I want to believe that these projects are going to go a long way in transforming and tapping the potential of basketball that we have in Africa. And for my motherland, Kenya, really, the other day, I was really in pain. And you remember, we were doing the running orders there, and I was like...
Today is using a very, very strong words.
I know.
Really in pain. I was in pain. Then you remember what was happening when we were told that team is leaving today. We have a game, you know, that was the Borans. We have a game in Tunisia. We cannot even organize just a trip to Tunisia. You understand?
Give a walkover.
We gave a walkover. We couldn't play. And that's why I'm saying that let these projects come, show people that this sport is serious. We have a lot of potential. And by the way, on that, I still want to say something about our federation here. You see, we put a lot of scrutiny on FKF. For example, last weekend we had elections for the boxing federation. Nobody is talking about it. Now we had a national team failing to travel to Tunisia in time and giving a walkover. We just
quite shameful.
And nobody's talking about it.
And actually, probably if I can chime in, when this event was going down, there was a luncheon actually in San Francisco, where we had all the African legends, all the big names regarding basketball. And in that luncheon, they launched the Dikembe Award, which would be given annually. And in this award, they'll be looking across Africa who is doing humanitarian work aimed at probably changing the society. And the winner will get monies actually to help him or her run the project. And it was a moment I felt I needed to hide under the table. Because plainly put, imagine when in the room they're saying, when it comes to basketball, Kenya is not mentioned anywhere. You guys are punching, no one even takes mention.
Yes.
Probably the names of Nigeria, Senegal, Congo, South Africa probably comes to mention. And when you look at that camp where we were, that's in the Basketball Without Borders, there's no single Kenyan there. We have around 4 Nigerians, and fighting so hard to make it to the NBA. You have probably some Algerians, you have Sudanese there, working very hard to make it to the NBA. And in the US, NBA is quite a big thing. It's a $1 billion industry. I'd probably equate it with the movement the EPL is in England, and probably how Kenyans religiously follow that. So that just tells you how behind we are when it comes to basketball, not just talent-wise, but also in terms of facilities. And when we hosted this last year and City Thunder are competing, right now the indoor arena at Kasarani still remains our best indoor facility, 60 years after independence. So that really tells you...
And still, I want to differ with you a little bit, that we are not behind talent-wise, for sure. Facilities and everything else we are behind, but I want to believe that even to talk about talent, the kind of display we see from Morans and the rest, with good management. You see, these are teams that play league year in, year out without even nothing to compete for, Danny. So really, it is debatable about the quality of talent. And I want to believe that with proper investment, we can have actually a good athletes being seen up there.
Mostly, and actually, the aim should be to get them compete out there, because you look at that, what they're calling Basketball Without Borders. These are players aged between 14 and 17.
Prospects.
Yeah, and you can see the skill and all the techniques they need for the game. They can as easily walk into national teams of any other country.
Yeah. I remember when we talked about, you remember the first, their league, when the league ended last year, and we talk about the money they were giving the winners. What is 300 and something thousand?
300,000, and that's the first time they're giving that.
That is maybe a salary for one player of City Thunder. You can't give 350,000. But again, and then someone from the federation told me that. Someone told me that, this is the first time we are giving out money. I'm like, you're doing it wrong. You're not supposed to tell me it's the first time. You need to do it right. 350,000 you cannot give someone for winning like a league in the basketball. And then when Danny was talking about that, the Basket African League, one of the players from Cameroon now, he's going to be playing in the big stages, Danny.
Yeah.
And Danny, because this All-Star event, NBA All-Star, is just a 2-3 day event.
Yeah. Each
player from the winning team took home 16 million.
And then you're saying 350,000.
You come back home, Gor Mahia sweats on the pitch for 10 months to take home 4 million, which is again never assured.
It's not guaranteed. Yeah. So I think the biggest problem is the lack of goodwill from the patrons, which is the government. There was a time Asai Ujiri was in the building and he said he walks around Africa and he sees people with the right size that can play basketball.
Yeah,
sometimes
absolutely.
they have the talent to do it, but they do not have the necessary support they need for them to be successful for the highest level. Remember, there was a time a Tanzanian was drafted at number 2 in the NBA draft, Hashim Thabit. So they came in, they saw these guys, so they took him through training for him to be ready for the draft. So at the end of the draft, he came up at number 2. So I feel Africa has the talent, has the richness to be successful in terms of basketball, but the goodwill and support is not there. And the NBA is coming in this capacity, like they want now to build for you the facilities you need. They give you the technical support that you need to grow the talents that you have and see what can happen at the end of the day. Because even last year, after last year's BAL edition, we had a player who was drafted in the NBA draft. He's currently playing for the Toronto Raptors. So that one tells you now that we have the players. Even last season, back-to-back MVP in the NBA, Joel Embiid. He was drafted out of, he came from the Dikembe Mutombo boot camp that he was used to hold in DRC. So that tells you more about what we can do, but we do not have the supportive environment that
Absolutely. We'll need more tall girls like Zita.